Brought to you by Hug House Productions.
Hi, hello, listener of Knowvermorphs. If you like this show, I am convinced you are going to love The Newest Olympian by Mike Schubert. Why am I so certain? Because that's one of the shows that inspired this show. Real ones who listen to the credits already know. Each week, Mike dives into the Percy Jackson series, which I love, joined by guests who are longtime fans of the Rick Riordan series. If you haven't read these books yet, this is the perfect way to get started and read along with Mike. They're so good. And like Animorphs, they're kids' books that touch on way more serious topics than you might expect. And they're about worldwide mythologies, starting with Greek and Roman. I know you gays love mythology. If you have already read the books and know how good they are, you'll love this series too. The dramatic irony, man. And if you know about the books from the Disney Plus series, Mike has done interviews and conversations with some of the cast of the show on The Newest Olympian too. Mike is a great host, a great editor, and obviously a huge inspiration for me. You can find The Newest Olympian in the show notes or wherever you get your podcasts. Go subscribe right now and enjoy.
Animorphs. Cool books for cool kids, I'm guessing. Hi, I am Will Williams. I am the CEO of Hug House Productions. I have been a culture journalist. I have made some podcasts like Valence, which is an urban fantasy with some like big themes, which I think is maybe Animorphsy in spirit. I'm a 31-year-old little guy, and I've never read Animorphs, but I've always really wanted to. Hi, this is a podcast where I read Animorphs for the first time. Now, you may be wondering, hey, is this just Potterless and The Newest Olympian, but Animorphs? And yeah, it is. It is. Don't worry. I have Mike's blessing. I have Shubes' blessing. Also, go listen to his shows. They're really good. So I sort of like jokingly pitched that I would be considering reading Animorphs. And like, if I'm already doing that as my New Year's resolution, I should probably just make a podcast of it because this is my job. It's what I do. And that seemed pretty straightforward. So I like joked about this on the tumblr.com, and immediately several podcast friends were like, when can I be a guest star? So it got pretty serious pretty fast, as is my way. So let's talk about what I know about Animorphs. That is going to be the focus of this pilot episode today, my history with Animorphs. So I'm 31, I think. I was born in 92. I'm 31. So I'm like kind of the core age group that Animorphs was always for. I watched the pilot episode when it came out. I remember that as a little kid. And I was super enthralled by it. I thought it was really, really, really cool. It had characters who were girls, but like it was like a pretty intense, serious show. But the girls had like personalities, which was fucking crazy to me. I got really excited when I watched the first episode and expressed that to some folks who basically made fun of me for being so into this like cool show for kids that I never watched it again until it came out on Netflix. They put the like original TV show on Netflix, and what must have been like 10 years ago, I watched them all, I think, in one fell swoop while very ill, and I do not remember a thing except I know what a yeerk is, I think. I said that and then I realized I actually have no idea if I'm right. I'm pretty sure that a yeerk is a gross alien slug that goes into someone's ear to kind of like mind control them in a sort of like body snatchers inspired way for nefarious purposes that I don't really understand. It could be that they are trying to like take over the world in that like typical like, ooh, I'm a bad guy, like that kind of way. I'm guessing that's it, but I have heard that Animorphs has like really intense themes of like the horrors of war, and I wouldn't be shocked if they have like actual motivations. We'll fucking see. Does the yeerks, did they have motivation? Are they just little slugs? Are they like devices? I don't know. Here's what also an issue is. I really love slugs. I know that that's a crazy thing to hear on podcast.com, but I really do like them. I'm kind of obsessed with snails. I have a snail tattoo. So frankly, if you told me that there was like a slug from space that wanted to crawl inside my ear and like take over my consciousness and I just got to like peace out, I do think I would fuck with that pretty hard. So I don't know. We'll see how my suspension of disbelief works and if I am just like squarely the wrong audience due to my love of snails and self-destructive tendencies. I do know that the show also is like not a terribly faithful adaptation, was very dumbed down, was made pretty cheeseball. I know that much. Past that, I know that the author of the books is a woman named K.A. Applegate. And from what I have heard, she is cool as hell. We're talking like Rick Riordan levels, but minus the Disney, so like kind of double cool. One of the reasons I am interested in reading the series is because they're all available as just like PDFs. That's sick. I love that. Like Go Vonnegut style, this owns. So if you, like me, have never read them before and you're gonna like come with me on this buck wild journey, we can PDF this shit together for free, and that rules. Or libraries exist too. Don't ever forget that. So I know that K.A. Applegate has a trans child, I think, and she is generally like very, very, very trans supportive, which is dope to me. And I've also heard that there are like accidental trans themes throughout these books, hardcore, which like it's a shape-shifting book series. Like, yeah. Right? Like, yeah, I know us. I get it. I know that there are 54 books. I know that now. Did not know that when I signed up to do the podcast. Signed up. I'm making myself do this. But I don't know. That's kind of fun. I've done the Percy Jackson and Kane Chronicles, and like I've done that thing. 54 is a lot. I know that it is like super 90s. I have seen the image of like the first page that like circulates around the internet pretty often, just being like, this is the most 90s thing I've ever seen in my life. It's very funny. It's very delightful. I am a huge sucker for that kind of like 90s cyberpunk sort of aesthetic. Love me some Batman Beyond, love me some Hackers. I will even go for some David Cronenberg's Existence. I think we're going to have a good time here. I know that there is a character who turns into a bird forever, and it may or may not be on purpose. So that's fucked up. I know that there is, I think, a character named Rachel who is like nice girl and also is like so down to clown with war crimes. I believe that is the case. I know that there is a alien guy who's their buddy and ally. And he looks like a fucked up little centaur, and he's blue. I remember him from the show being terribly endearing and very obnoxious, like me. So I think that I'll like him. Anything else I know about the series? I think that may genuinely be it. So that's not a lot. I don't feel like it has had quite the same cultural osmosis as something like Harry Potter, fuck J.K. Rowling, obviously, or even like Percy Jackson with this new series. Like it only got the one series on Nickelodeon. I don't think it had more than like 2 seasons. There has not been a movie. There has not been any like recent adaptation. I don't think there's been a video game or anything like that. So I'm going in knowing pretty much nothing. I am going to share so many theories. I am going to pick it apart like nobody's business because that is the only way I know how to engage with media. And I think I'm going to have a really good time. So I hope that you join me on this New Year's resolution, young adult fiction adventure. So you may be wondering, like, what's the structure of this podcast going to look like? Yeah, that's a great question, and we'll see. I wouldn't be shocked if I do an a book an episode at least while things are like ramping up and we're getting into like more intense plotting, because I'm guessing it's going to have kind of a quieter start. God, I could be super wrong. I guess we'll have to see. But like probably an episode would be like a book or like half a book or like several chapters. We're going to feel it out. We're going to do what feels best for each book and each section of chapters and what have you. I just want to be respectful of what those books deserve, and I'm guessing that they deserve a lot. If you are somebody who also is a podcaster and you are a huge Animorphs fan, you may be wondering, how do I get on this podcast? I have a microphone, and I don't think that you would say it like that, to be clear. I think that you are probably thinking in a way that's like normal human thoughts. But you might be thinking, how do I get on this a podcast? And I would recommend that you email hello@Hughouse Productions. Let us know what your history with Animorphs is, and if you have a solid recording setup. And like, I don't know, maybe we can set something up. I think that would be really fun. I do have some folks in the podcast community who, again, are already like amped to come on as guest hosts, which is just delightful and lovely. So I'm going to be back soon, having read the first book and talking to someone lovely about my experience. I recommend reading it now if you are going to be joining me. We are going to be releasing our first actual episode March 1st. It's a little while away from now, but like I need time to like read the books. And like record episodes and edit them. So, bear with me. But I think it's going to be a really fun New Year's resolution. And again, I just want to point everybody to Mike Schubert's podcasts, Potterless and The Newest Olympian. They're both really delightful. As somebody who hates J.K. Rowling, I think that Shubes is interacting with Harry Potter in like the most ethical possible way, and is very, 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 very vocal about being aligned with trans rights. If you still want to avoid that entirely, I don't blame you. I get it. I'm trans. I get it. So I also highly recommend The Newest Olympian, which is following the Percy Jackson series. We love Rick Riordan here. He is a good man. We love Uncle Rick. And it's a series that like really means a lot to me. Like Shubes, I didn't start reading it until much later in life, and I really quickly fell in love with the series. And getting to hear him interact with it and just be like so excited, connect really hard with Percy and the other characters. It's such a good listen, y'all. It's so lovely, and Shubes is so funny. So please do go check this out. This podcast obviously would not exist without that inspiration. They're great podcasts, and Shubes is a really good guy. So I hope that you support his work as well. And I'll be back in March, having changed, having morphed. Okay, bye!
Nevermorphed is hosted, edited, and produced by Will Williams. Our theme music is The Chase by Joey Hendricks. Our title is by Eddie Feely, and this podcast would not exist without Mike Schubert's podcast, Potterless and The Newest Olympian. You can find his works at shub.es, that's shub.es. Nevermorphed is a proud member of Hughouse Productions. You can find more at hughouse.productions and follow us on Tumblr at Nevermorphed. Get morphin'!
On March 27th, 2024, Elon Musk was deposed in a libel lawsuit filed by Ben Brody. Musk's lawyer, Alex Spiro, tried to retroactively mark the deposition as confidential, but it wasn't.
Of course I can ask him, do you think you committed actual malice? Do you think you were reckless? Of course I can ask those questions.
The deposition is a new Hughouse podcast reenactment of the entire deposition, word by word, in full, taken very seriously.
Things that he did wrong.
But that's the point. That's not what you're allowed
Until he really just can't anymore.
Not what you're allowed to do in the deposition. You can't just get him talking.
The deposition drops on the 4th of July, 2024, with 4 weekly episodes. Subscribe on your podcatcher of choice or find us at hughouse.productions today.